Okay, let's have a look at the third tense on our list, which is the future tense. We've covered talking about present and talking about what happens normally with the present tense. We've talked about events that happen in the past with the perfect tense, and now we need to talk about things that are going to happen, things that will happen. So this is le futur. Le futur means the future tense. And here are a couple of examples of the sorts of things we mean. I will go to Germany is talking about something that will happen in the future. We are going to learn the future tense is something talking about the future as well, but looks slightly different from I will go to Germany. And third possibility is something like they will be showing what they can do. Again, although it's got the will in it, slightly different because it's got the showing, the ing form in English. All of these are the future tense. And the thing that tells us it's the future tense is either the will in those two examples or the going to. Note, however, that going to could be talking about the present if there isn't another verb with it. It's the extra verb, the learn, that shows us we're talking about the future tense. If you had the sentence, I am going to the beach, that could be talking about what you're going to do in the future, or it could be talking about what you're doing now. What are you doing? I am going to the beach. That could be happening now. So going to doesn't always show we're in the future if it doesn't have another verb with it. However, this one does. So the difference is the will or the going to. And if you've got a going to future tense, we call that the immediate future. And this is the one you're most likely to have come across up until now because it's fairly easy to form. If you want to say, I am going to speak French, I am going to do my homework, something like that, something that's going to happen fairly soon in the future, hence immediate future, then all you need to know is the verb aller. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. I go, you go, he goes, she goes, we go, you go, they go. And all you do is you take whichever person it is you're talking about with the present tense of aller, and you put the infinitive next to it. Okay, so let's just remind you where you can find aller if you haven't already learned it. So, like many things, we can find the present tense of aller on the back of the learning mat. You will find it in your dictionary, and there are plenty of online resources that you can use to find it as well. But if you have a learning mat, aller is one of the irregular present tense forms, which are on the right hand side here, and being alphabetical, aller is our first one. There we go. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. And if you remember the difference between the present tense in English, you'll remember that there is the simple present tense in English, something that happens normally, so I go, and there is the continuous present, something that you are doing now, so I am going. But in French they have only the one. That's why I go and I am going are both the same in French. They're both je vais. So when you want to say I am going to play, it makes perfect sense that you take I am going, je vais, and put it next to the infinitive, to play, so jouer. So for example, if you wanted to say I am going to eat, you would take I am going, je vais, and you'd add it to the infinitive, to eat, so je vais manger. If you were going to say he is going to go, you would take he is going, il va, and you'd add that to the infinitive to go, which is aller. So you'd end up with il va aller. And if you were going to say we are going to play, you'd take we are going, nous allons, and you'd add it to the infinitive to play. So you'd have nous allons jouer. We are going to play. Okay, so that's an easy way of expressing the future in French. Because if you stick to talking about I, all you need to remember really is je vais, and put that next to any infinitive, and you can do the future tense in a simple way, very, very easily. However, if you want to be more sophisticated and you want to know how to say will in French, then you need to know the other future tense, sometimes what we'd call the proper future tense. There's another one there. Ils vont être, they are going to be, same thing. And there's one more example, tu vas te lever, showing you how it works with a reflexive verb. I've forgotten about those two examples. So if you've got a reflexive verb like se lever, the reflexive pronoun will need to agree with the person, so it would need to change to be yourself there. You are going to get yourself up. You're going to get up. Tu vas te lever. And that's showing you the reflexive pronoun goes after the va. Okay, so as I was saying, moving on to the true future tense where we saying will. There are 3 stages to this. It's much easier than the perfect tense. First of all, you check to see if it's an irregular verb, and we'll show you where those are in a moment. Because just like all the other tenses, the future tense has irregular verbs, and we need to check the dictionary or the learning map to see if it's irregular first. If it's not irregular, then we take the infinitive. So the verb that comes out of the dictionary that ends in er, ir, or re. And this time we leave the infinitive. We don't take off the ending like we did with the perfect and the present tense. However, if it's an re verb, we do take off the final e. And then once we've done that, we put the correct ending on. And the good thing about the future tense is, where we had 3 different sets of endings for the present tense, we have the endings for re verbs, ir verbs, er verbs, all the endings for all 3 different types of verbs and the irregular verbs are all the same in the future tense. So it does make it a lot easier than some of the other tenses. And that's it. Those 3 steps, if you can follow those, you can do this future tense. So we take our person, obviously, and then we take the infinitive, assuming the verb is not irregular. So we could have jouer, to play, finir, to finish, and vendre, to sell. And then, as we set up here with point 2, an re verb, we would take off that final e. So we're going to remove the e of vendre, so that all our stems end in r. And they must all end in r. For every single verb, when you're making the future tense, if your stem doesn't end in an r, you know you've got the wrong stem. That's an easy way to not make mistakes. And then when we've got our stem of our verb, we put on those endings according to the person. So je goes with e, tu goes with a, il and elle go with a, nous goes with on, vous goes with e, and il or elle goes with on. And you might, if you're really clever, recognize something a little bit strange there, because these 4, e, a, and on, are also the words that mean have. And it's really odd that they turn up in the endings of the future tense, because j'ai means I have, tu as means you have, il or elle a means he or she has, and il or elle ont means they have. And that's very, very strange, but it does help people remember the endings if they know their verbs, if they know their irregular verb, avoir. However, here it doesn't mean have. We're putting it on the end of the infinitive, as we see here. So, je jouerai would mean I will play. We've got our infinitive, and we've put the je ending on the end. I will play. So will play, 2 words in English, but 1 word in French, jouerai. And we could have elle finira, she will finish. So the infinitive, and then the L ending is an A. And then we could have vous vendrez, so using the sell stem, you will sell. We've got the RE verb with the E taken off and joined to the EZ for the vous ending. Vous vendrez, you will sell. And that really is all there is to it. So let's just have a look on the learning. So just on the back here, just let's check we can see where all of this comes from. First thing to show you is that there are a few irregular future tense stems here, and you can see them in bold. They've been conjugated into the I form, so faire, the stem is F-E-R, and the AI for the je form, I will do or I will make, has been put on. So the first thing you do whenever you're conjugating into the future tense is you check this short list here to see whether it's on here, because if it is, you take the stem in bold instead of the infinitive. Now, as with all the other irregular verbs, they're not all on the back of the learning map, so you are safest to check in a dictionary or with an online resource. But there you have it anyway. And if we go up slightly, we can see that the endings are here on our grid. So the future tense column, and it really doesn't matter this time whether we look to the ER, the IR, or the RE section, because all the endings are the same. And you can see the three verbs we looked at there, play, finish, and sell, conjugated in full, but the endings are the same for all three. So if we quickly have a little look at a couple of examples then and use the learning map to do it, they will be is our first one. So the first step was check the learning map to see if it's irregular. Okay, and this time, remember, to be is être, and that is on the list. So we've got je serai, I will be. Therefore, we know straight away that that bit in bold, the SER, is our stem. Okay, so instead of taking the verb être as the infinitive, we take the irregular stem, SER, and then we need to get our they ending for the future tense. Remember, it doesn't really matter which grid we come out of because they're all the same. They're all for they, O-N-T, look, O-N-T. So that's it really. You just need to put the they in and then O-N-T on the end. So ils seront means they will be. And then if we have he will choose, remember to choose is choisir. So we need to check, first step, check the learning map to see whether choisir is there. It isn't, and choisir is totally regular. So we have the infinitive, and we leave the infinitive as it is. We don't touch it. And then, of course, what we need to do is take the, was it he? I can't remember now. Yes, he will choose. So we need the he ending. We may as well get it out of the IR verb section, future tense, although it doesn't matter because they're all a. Okay, a for he. So we just need to add he and then put the a on the end. Il choisira. Il choisira. He will choose. And that's it. 3 simple steps and you're done. The only possible difficulty is the irregular ones. But with time, you'll know those as well. And remember, you can always fall back and use the immediate future if you get stuck.